Hello book besties and welcome to another reading vlog. This reading vlog is slightly different though because it's not going to be the same as all my other reading vlogs that I've done so far, because I've been wanting to do this kind of video for a while, and that's this video ends when I find a 5-star read. I haven't had a 5-star read for so long. I genuinely can't even remember the last time that I had a 5-star read. I think it would have been Powerful by Lauren Roberts, which was actually a 6-star read. Because I'd literally give that novella infinite stars if I could. I could be wrong, but I think that was the last 5-star read I had. I've had like 4.5s since then, but no definite solid 5-star read. So I thought it'd be really fun to film this video that ends when I find a 5-star read. The reason that this isn't going to be the same as all my other reading vlogs is because I'm going to be filming reading vlogs at the same time as this. So you're going to be seeing some overlapping books, and for those ones they'll be in a lot more detail in the reading vlogs than there will be in this one. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of see how long it takes me to find a 5-star read, because that could literally be this book that I'm reading now, or it could literally be in a month's time. And I just thought it'd be really interesting to kind of see. The book that I'm currently reading, I'm literally only 20 pages in. I started reading it last night, but yesterday I finished reading 1,000 Broken Pieces. So I finished reading that and then I just picked up this one towards the end of the day. And that's Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I've heard so many amazing things about this. I've also heard that it's really kind of twisted and dark and a bit disturbing. So I'm kind of nervous going in. I'm also nervous about the fact that it's literally 530 pages. That's crazy. Which I think is the longest thriller I've probably ever read. But I'm excited to see what it's like. This is one that has been recommended to me a lot, and it's also one that I keep seeing on TikTok that people are raving about. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. And I'll update you. I'll probably update you when I'm about halfway through, when I have an idea of how many stars maybe I'll give it. And then obviously I'll update you at the end when I give it its final rating, and we'll see if it's a 5-star read. It'd be really funny if this was literally a 5-star read, because this video would be 2 minutes long. Just wanted to do a little update on how I'm finding Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Probably just about 2/3 of the way through. And this book this book definitely has a sort of gruesome thriller element to it, which I find really interesting to read, but I know that that's not going to be for everybody, so I just wanted to just mention here that this can be very disturbing at times, and there are things in here that aren't pleasant to read, but it's good so far. I'm really intrigued to see what the next 200 pages is, because it feels very much like we're kind of wrapping stuff up, but then also I know that not everything's as it seems right now. Right now, if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it maybe a 4 stars. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting from it, but I'm very conscious that that could all change depending on where she takes it and also the twists and stuff at the end. I feel like especially with thrillers, and especially with thrillers that I ended up rating 5-star, they weren't a 5-star book until right at the end. So we'll see how this one ends up and whether it leaves my jaw on the floor, which is always a good sign of a good thriller. But for now I'd say it was probably about 4-star if I had to rate it at the minute. But we'll see what the next 200 pages has in store. I finished Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This unfortunately wasn't a 5-star read. For a lot of this I was kind of thinking it was more of a 4-star read, but by the end of it I've actually decided to rate it 3 stars. I just feel like the thriller side of this, with the sort of twist being revealed, I saw kind of every single twist coming, and none of them really felt like shocking, jaw-dropping twists. They just kind of felt like a mystery that was slowly being unravelled, and we were kind of being given more pieces to put this whole puzzle together. That's more so what it felt like. It more felt like a mystery with the gruesome side of a thriller. I will say, please check the trigger warnings for this one. This is one of the most descriptive thrillers that I've ever read, so do just be aware of that if you're wanting to go into this. And the last sort of 150, maybe 200 pages, I kind of felt like it dragged a bit, and I was kind of wanting to find out what happened, and I was kind of ready for the end. So I don't actually think it needs to be as long as it is. I mean, this is a 530 page book. That is a chunky book. And it's also a really long time to be spending reading about what this book is about, because some of the scenes in here are hard to read, and like I said, very descriptive and gruesome at times. So just be aware of that. But overall, this is a 3-star read for me. I was kind of disappointed with the sort of lack of twists that there were, I think, because I was expecting to be really shocked. But I've moved on to my next book, which I'm actually filming a reading vlog, so there's going to be a bit of crossover on this one. But the first one that I'm reading for this reading vlog is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, which I'm nervous to go into. I'm nervous because this is one of Tessa Bailey's most hyped books, I think. I think this is the reason that I know about Tessa Bailey as an author. So we'll see how I get on with this one. We'll see. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't have high hopes for it being a 5-star read. But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? I could be shocked. Definitely not a 5-star read. I ended up rating this 2 stars. 2 stars! It just was not for me. I did not like Brendan. Our main guy character, I just did not like him. Wasn't that fussed about her. I was just cringing throughout this book. Not for me. So we're still very much on the hunt for our 5-star read. And this one is the first one that I included in the reading vlog that I'm doing. I have probably at least 2 more books to read for that reading vlog. And because they're books that I've been putting off, some of them tend to be books that maybe I wouldn't have bought now and that have just been on my TBR for a while. So I don't have massively high hopes for them to be the next 5-star read. But it's okay. Maybe we'll be really surprised. Who knows? Still gonna give them a good go. But I guess at least it means that this video won't be 2 seconds long. I really don't know what I'm going to choose next, but I guess you'll see that in the next clip. I just wanted to do a little update. After It Happened One Summer, I picked up Do No Harm by Jack Jordan. I've actually DNF'd this. I DNF'd it about 2 or 3 chapters in, which I know is not a lot. I do go into more explanation over on my reading vlog. I'm currently filming reading books I've been putting off, and this will be part of that. And I go into more explanation about it, but basically it's just stressing me out. And the main character's just done something really weird that I just thought, no, actually, no thank you. So we're going to DNF this and move on to The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, which I do really like Lucy Foley's writing, and I've enjoyed both the other books that I've read by her. So I'm excited to give this one a go because I feel like this is one of her more popular ones as well. So we'll see how I get on. A little update on The Paris Apartment. I'm currently halfway through. I would probably say right now this is probably sitting at like a 3-star. Probably. Like I said before, I'm very much aware that that can all change based on the ending, especially with a thriller, because I feel like the twists and stuff, if they really shock me or catch me off guard, then my rating will go up. But right now, I'd probably say it's sitting at a 3. I am interested to see how it's going to end and what's going to happen, but I'm not absolutely desperate to get back to it. I think that's kind of why it's middle ground for me right now. But we will see when I finished it. I just realised I haven't actually updated yet on what book I moved on to, and I don't think I did my review for The Paris Apartment. This one was also part of the reading vlog that I'm filming at the minute, and I talked about this one yesterday and I said that it was 3 stars, but the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of thinking, is it more of a 2.5? So I don't know how I'm feeling about this right now. I am going to say 2.5/3 stars. On Goodreads, I'm probably going to put it as a 3 stars. So for now, let's just say 3 stars, but that's kind of where I'm at with this book. This one, I really enjoyed the ending. I thought the ending was really good. I liked all the twists and turns that we took, but the actual getting there and the build up to it was so slow. In my opinion, I just found it very slow. I found the characters kind of unlikable, and I feel like there were some really good, interesting plot points that were revealed in the last sort of 60 or so pages that I wish had been revealed earlier, because that was the bit that I was finding so interesting. But I do think majority of this was quite slow paced, especially for a gripping sort of thriller. So then after I read Paris Apartment, I've now moved on to my next book, which is actually my last book for this reading book that I'm filming. And that's Twisted Games by Anna Huang, which is a book that I have been putting off for so long because I've just been nervous to go into it because of my experience with Twisted Love. It wasn't my favourite book ever, and I didn't really like the characters in that book, so I was kind of nervous going into this one, but I've been told so much that this one is so much better than the first one. I'm currently 150 pages in and I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. I really like these 2 characters. I think the grumpy sunshine element is working so well. I'm just having a good time. I know that that could very much change because we do have 2/3 left of this book, so I'm going in cautious with the rest of this. But so far I'm having a great time, and that's really surprised me. And I'd say rating wise this was probably like a 3.5 stars at the minute. If I had to say right now, it would probably be 3.5, but that could very much go up or down at this point. absolute worst at keeping you guys updated, and I'm so sorry for that. I think the last that I was telling you was that I was in the middle of Twisted Games. I think it's because I'm filming multiple vlogs at the same time. And I feel like I've talked a lot about this book, but I didn't do an update for this vlog. This ended up being a 3 stars. It was nearly 2.5, but I'm gonna go for 3. I did way prefer it to Twisted Love. I do actually really like Bridget and Reese, and I really like their dynamic together. And I think him as a character and the tropes that he had, like the grumpy sunshine, him being the grumpy part, that worked so well. I feel like it fit his character really well. And I also liked the sort of slow burn vibe that we had going on with them too. And I liked the other plot that was going on. It very much felt like there was another plot. It wasn't just the romance between them. And it concentrated on her as a princess, and there was stuff happening with her and her family and the fact that she's a princess and everything, and I enjoyed reading that as well. I will say that there are some things that he said that kind of made me cringe, but I feel like that's bound to happen, and it wasn't stuff that I couldn't just overlook. So overall I did enjoy it a lot more than the first one. I'm probably not going to continue this series, but who knows, maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll be in the mood to pick up the next one. But I ended up rating this 3 stars, and then I actually moved on to Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and I finished this. Which I know, I don't know what happened, okay? I read it in 2 days and I just forgot to update you because I was absolutely loving this book. I am filming a bookish vlog at the minute, and I have talked about this in that vlog, but I loved this. I absolutely loved it. But it wasn't quite enough to get 5 stars, but it was a 4-star book. I absolutely loved it. It might even be 4.5 to be honest. But I think for now it's probably 4. I was so surprised by this because there are so many tropes in here. Usually I find quite cliche or cringe, and they just worked so well. And I just absolutely loved the way that it was done. I loved the way that there were certain things that were talked about in here. For example, emotional abuse, and how abuse in relationships isn't always physical. And there was also talk about the psychological effects of parents and parents' relationships. And I just found that from a psychological point of view really, really interesting to read, and I really liked the way that that was dealt with. I also just really liked their dynamic. I think the dialogue in this is so good. The connection between them two, so good. So good. And I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was just such a fun time. I was literally giggling, kicking my feet, and it's been a while since I've had a romance like that, and I can't wait to read the rest of the series. And I'm so glad that I started it from the first one, because throughout this whole thing I was thinking I absolutely love Brie, I love her, and then I found out that the next one is Brie's book. So I'm so excited, and I'm glad that I have that sort of background to her, if you get me. So I rated this one 4 stars, absolutely loved it. And then I moved on to my current read, which is The Inmate by Freida McFadden. I'm nearly halfway through this. I'm really loving it. I kind of knew that I would because I love Freida McFadden's books, and also I love anything set in prisons or to do with criminals or criminal psychology. I just love it. I love it. So this is right on my street, and I'm definitely invested already. I'm definitely invested. And I just find her books so easy to read, and I feel like I get through them so quickly. I literally started this yesterday and I'm already nearly halfway through. I will try and keep you as updated as possible, and we're still very much on the hunt for a 5-star read. I feel like I'm in the same place as I was in the last clip, but it has been a couple days. But I'm getting really weird deja vu. I thought it was time to do a little update because I finished The Inmate. I finished last night, literally at 3 AM. 3 AM. And I honestly thought this was going to be a 5-star read. I honestly did. But it's more of a 4-star, which is still really, really good. But I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. I still did really, really enjoy it. Just didn't have the sort of prison vibe that I thought it was going to. My favourite Freida McFadden book is Ward D. And that one is so eerie, and it's got such a creepy vibe to it because it's all set in a psychiatric ward, and you really get the vibe of the ward and you feel like you're there kind of trapped with her. And I thought this was going to be sort of more set in the prison, but it actually wasn't. Very little of it was actually set in the actual prison. That's just where she worked. And we did get quite a few scenes at the start, but I feel like throughout the book there was less and less to do with the actual prison, which is fine, but it's just kind of not what I was really expecting when I went into this. But I still really liked it. I really liked the past timeline and that whole story and the unravelling of that. I absolutely loved how that was done, and I do think that those chapters really did have that eerie vibe that I really like in a Freida McFadden book. And I found that I was really invested in that timeline. I can't really say that much without spoiling it, but I'm gonna say there was a twist that I really, really liked, and then she kind of took it in a different way, and I kind of wish she'd stuck with the original twist. And then the epilogue, as always, with the Freedom McFadden was so good, and I really didn't see that coming, and I really liked how that ended. I feel like her endings of her books are so strong. Literally every single one are just so strong and leave you just staring at a wall and like, what have I just read? But it was a really quick, easy read, and I rated it 4 stars. I honestly don't know what I'm gonna read next. I think I need to start another reading vlog. I'm filming a little all things bookish vlog at the minute, but I need to start filming my next reading vlog. I feel like I might pick up Hits Different by Tasha Guri and Lizzie Huxley Jones, because that's a very summery book and we are nearing the end of summer, so I really want to read that before summer's over. So I feel like maybe I should prioritise that one, but I really don't know what I'm in the mood for. It also looks kind of short, so I feel like it might be an easy little quick read. But I am going to have a look at the books on my TBR and just see if there's anything else that I'm really in the mood for. So we'll see what I end up picking next. I can't believe how long it's taken me to find a 5-star. I mean, I kind of can, but I also can't. Because I feel like I've not had that many 5-star reads this year so far, but I genuinely don't know when my next 5-star read's going to be. This video could end up being like 2 hours long. I finished Hits Different. This was like a 2.5 star book, maybe 2 stars. This video is going to be 500 hours long. I feel like we've got through so many books, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to move on to Daydream by Hannah Grace, which I have high hopes for. I have high hopes. Icebreaker for me was like a 5-star, potentially 6-star read when I read that. I just absolutely loved that book. Wildfire, I think, was like a 4-star. So I have hopes for this one. I have hopes. Maybe this will be a 5-star read. I don't know. I don't know. I'm currently filming a reading vlog at the same time, so you can see all my thoughts and everything on this. I just didn't really connect with it. I didn't really like the writing style or the way that it was written. I don't know. I'm really worried that I'm going to go into a reading slump, but I'm hoping that this will stop that from happening. Fingers crossed. I'm excited because she's a book girly. She's a book girly and I'm excited to read about that. And I already know that I like Henry from the other books as well. We'll see. I don't think he's going to compare to Nate Hawkins, but who knows? I could be mistaken. Watch me literally be obsessed with Henry now after reading this. But I'm going to start this one today. Let's hope it's going to be as good as the first 2. I feel like it's just been so long since I've had a 5-star book. I think the highest we've got in this vlog is 4 stars, which was Part of Your World. Oh, and The Inmate. The Inmate was also 4 stars. I have high hopes. Do I? Time. I finished reading Daydream by Hannah Grace. I really thought when I started reading this that this was our potential 5-star read, but sadly it wasn't. It was a 4-star book though, so still a high rated book, but not quite a 5-star. I really liked the representation in here of so many different things. I liked that it felt like sort of a softer book than the other ones in the series, and I feel like there was a lot of relatable things, situations, thoughts, feelings in here that I literally had to get my pen out to annotate, because just the way that she wrote about certain things, I was like, that's literally exactly it and I need to underline it. And I think the way that certain topics were sort of handled in here were handled really, really well, and I absolutely loved the little cameo of the other books, and just I love this world and this group of friends, and I just never want the series to end. Honestly, I want every single character's book in the series, which I think would be like 15 books or something like that. It's something ridiculous, but it literally makes me want to read about every single one of these characters, and I really enjoyed it. I like these two characters, I like them together, and how it was quite slow burn with their friends to lovers kind of trope. There were so many Taylor Swift references. This book is so Taylor Swift coded. If you need a Taylor Swift inspired book, literally pick this book up right now, because it is just so Taylor Swift coded throughout this whole thing. And I loved that because it wasn't in a really obvious way as well. It was just in a really nice kind of if you know you know kind of way. The next book that I've moved on to is The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. I'm only on chapter 9, which is 66 pages in, but I'm loving this so far. I'm loving it. The way I have been giggling, I've literally been chuckling to this because it's just so funny. The way it's written is so good. It's literally so good, and it just makes me want to do nothing but read this book all day long, honestly. And just the whole concept of this one makes me so happy, and I just can't wait to read more of it, and I will let you know my thoughts and what I end up rating it. And hopefully this could be our 5-star book. I don't want to jinx it. Let's touch wood. But who knows? Who knows? I would be surprised if it is, but at the same time with how much I'm loving it right now, I also wouldn't be surprised. That made no sense. It wasn't a 5-star book. It was a 4-star book, so it was a good book, but it wasn't a 5-star book. It just didn't have that 5-star feeling. I really enjoyed it. It literally made me giggle every single chapter, and I had a really good time reading it. I just don't know what it was that didn't make it a 5-star book. It just didn't have that feeling to it, and that's okay. We move on to the next one. But it was still so much fun and just such a laugh, honestly. This whole concept, the way it was written, these chaotic characters, just really made me chuckle, and it was a really good time. But unfortunately, not our next 5-star read. I've genuinely lost count of how many books have been in this video. But I'm still holding out for a 5-star book. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Hi, hello. I feel like it has been so long since I updated this vlog, and to be honest it probably has been about a week, if not a bit more than that. But I've actually been gone for the last few days. I went to a wedding, so I haven't actually had a chance to read very much or to update you. So while I was away I did take my Kindle with me. This is actually my mum's Kindle. Thank you, Mum, for letting me borrow it. But I had an Alice Feeney book on here called His and Hers, which I thought was very on brand because I was going to a wedding, and I love a theme. I love a theme. And even though that book had nothing to do with weddings or marriage really, it was called His and Hers, so I kind of thought it was appropriate, and it was one of the books that I had on this Kindle. So I actually started reading that while I was there, but I didn't really have that much time to read. So I've actually been back home for a couple of days, and I did manage to finish the book in that time. And I would give it a rating of probably 3.5. I did enjoy it. I just think it's going to be one of those thrillers that I don't really remember that much, and I don't know whether that's because the way that I read it was quite split up. I am finding recently that I absolutely love to binge a book, and the quicker that I read it the more I find that I enjoy it. When I'm spending too long in a book I kind of get bored of it and I kind of want it to be over quicker. I don't know if that's just me or what that says about my attention span, but here we are. I did enjoy it. I would recommend it, especially if you like Alice Feeney's books. Some of the things that she says and the way that she writes things is so nice and so just makes you want to highlight it, and I found that was the case also in Rock Paper Scissors, which is the only other book by her that I've read. I would say that I probably actually preferred His and Hers to Rock Paper Scissors. I know that Rock Paper Scissors is like one of her most popular books, and I would recommend both of them to be honest, but I do think I preferred His and Hers. This one really gave me the vibe of the Mindfuck series, but a bit less gruesome, and it's less sort of dark romance vibe. I'm not 100% sure if the Mindfuck series actually counts as a dark romance series. I would probably say it doesn't, but I don't know, I could be wrong. But it has a very similar vibe, and I think if you like the Mindfuck series, you would really, really like His and Hers as well. And I did enjoy it, but like I said, I just don't think it's going to be one that I necessarily think about again. And then the book that I've moved on to, I'm so excited about this. I finally picked up Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and I'm only 30 pages in. I literally started reading it last night, literally straight after I finished reading His and Hers. I'm so excited to find out what the hype is about this book. I also really want to read this one and Just for the Summer quite soon, because autumn is very much on its way and I really don't want to wait until next summer to read the rest of the series. So I'm doing it now, and I have really high hopes for this one specifically. The reason that I actually read Part of Your World was because I wanted to read this one, and I thought that I would really, really like this one, but I did want to read the series in order. So this has been very anticipated for me, and I'm really excited for it. And hopefully this might be a 5 stars. I mean, Part of Your World was 4 stars, and that had a lot of tropes in that I don't usually absolutely love. So the fact that this has already got tropes in that I really like gives me high hopes. Gives me high hopes. I thought it was about time for a little update. I finished reading Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I actually am not sure on my rating, because my first instinct when I finished this was like a 3.5 stars, but that just seems a bit too low. But I think I preferred Part of Your World, which is the first one in the series, which was quite a shock for me, to be honest, because I kind of expected to like this one a lot more, just based on what I'd heard about it. And I actually felt kind of overwhelmed by this. I think because it represents anxiety so well, to the point where it's kind of intense for me to read, because that's something I experience daily. So then living it and then going to read about it, it's kind of a lot. I don't know. But at the same time, I do really like that it's represented, and I think it's accurately represented as well. It's somewhere between 3.5 and a 4, but I don't know, it's somewhere between there. But regardless, it's not a 5-star read for me anyway. So that means the search continues for a 5-star read. I'm about to move on to my next book, which I'm so nervous about, but I'm also so excited to see what all the hype is about, because this is one of the most hyped BookTok books probably ever, honestly, and it's so many people's 5-star reads, and I literally hear people raving about this book, and I thought it was about time that I finally read it, and that's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I know it's happening. I can't quite believe it myself. I don't even know what my prediction for this book is. Usually when I pick up a book, I kind of have an idea of what I think I might rate it, just based on like the tropes and the concepts and the author if I've read them before. And I don't know what it is, I just feel a certain vibe for certain books. This one, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I will keep you updated on what I rate it. I finished reading Fourth Wing. Not a 5-star book. Not a 5-star book. I literally can't even remember when I started this vlog. I genuinely don't even know how many books we've gone through so far. This one, just because of how much hype it has, I did kind of think would be a 5-star read, but it's not. It is a 4-star read though. So a very, very solid book. I really, really enjoyed it. I love Violet and Xaden and their dynamic together. Xaden is a bit of me. And I really like the dragons and how the dragons can communicate with the humans and just the powers. I really enjoyed it as a whole, and I gave it 4 stars. So the hunt continues. The next book that I'm going into that I've just started reading is Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the 4th and final one in the Natural series, and book 3, which was All In, was actually a 5-star read for me. So who knows? Who knows? I feel like it's all going to kick off in this book. I'm literally only 44 pages in so far and I'm loving it already. Literally all I want to do is sit down and read this book. This could potentially be our 5-star. I don't want to jinx that, touch wood. And I'm so excited to see how the series is going to end. I'm so excited. finished Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was so nearly a 5-star read. It honestly so nearly was, but it's not, unfortunately. It was a 4.5 star, so very, very solid. I've really, really enjoyed it. I'm so sad that this series is over. I do have the little novella at the end, but the main series is over, which I'm so sad about. But I really, really liked this. It was so addictive, so fast paced, and I was literally just hooked the entire way through. And it was also a nice ending and a nice way to wrap up the whole series. And I think this whole series is so cleverly done, just with the amount of planning that must have been involved and how each book is actually connected, and you really see that in this final one as well. And I just think it's so clever and it's just so interesting, and I really, really enjoyed it. But not quite 5-star. I don't actually know what book I'm going to pick up next. I don't really know what I'm in the mood for right now. I might go for, I'm just looking at my TBR cart. I have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez or Good Material by Dolly Alderton. They're the two that kind of standing out to me right now. I don't know. I will update you when I've chosen our next read. I have moved on to my next book and I started reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I'm loving it so far. I'm loving it. I just love their banter and the way they bounce off each other, and I love that it has a really good balance of talking about harder topics but also being fun at the same time. I think the balance of that is done really, really well, and it's literally just making me so giddy and giggly, and I'm just having the best time. I'm having the best time, and I have high hopes for the rating of this one. I don't want to speak too soon, but I have high hopes. Fingers crossed. We found it! We found it! 5-star read. 5-star read. I honestly got to the point of questioning when this video was ever going to end. I feel like we had a lot of 4-star or 4.5-star books, and I just could not find anything that had that 5-star feeling. This is it. This is it. I loved this. I absolutely loved it. I'm obsessed with these characters. I literally devoured this in 2 days, and I cannot stop thinking about Justin and Emma. I love them. I love them. I do have a reading vlog coming out where I'm reading this, and you get to see all my thoughts throughout reading and all my final thoughts and everything. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet here. This book has a special place in my heart. I absolutely love it. If you're going to read the series, I definitely recommend reading it from the start, because there are things that happen in here that it just blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind with how it fits into the series. And I honestly cannot get over it. I cannot get over it. And I'm just so happy that we finally have that 5-star giggly, kicking my feet kind of feeling, because this is exactly what this book gave me. And I already know that this is going to be one that I think about a lot, especially because there are things in here that really got my brain thinking. Just certain life ideas or little phrases here and there that I was like, that's so true, or I'm gonna start using that in my day-to-day life, because there were just some really great lines. And it's one of those books that I wish that I'd annotated. Just the way that it was written, how certain things are explained, were just so beautifully written. And I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed, and I genuinely can't believe that I finally found my next 5-star read. Who would have known? Who would have seen it coming? I had a look when I started this vlog, and I started it when I was reading Pretty Girls. We've read 14 books together since then. That's crazy. 14 books until we found a 5-star read. But we finally did it. We finally made it. And I really hope that you've enjoyed coming on this little journey with me, because I've literally been filming this video since the 27th of July, and it is currently, as we speak, the 23rd of September. That is crazy. That is actually crazy. But as always, thank you so much for coming along with me on this bit of a different style of reading vlog, but I really hope that you enjoyed watching. Let me know if you want me to do it again. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. I can't believe this vlog has finally come to an end. Why does that make me sad? Okay, bye. Bye.